on our tote bag. So you should have your instructions and you should have your 2 fabrics. So you went to the store and you purchased 2 different fabrics, or you got 1 fabric, and that 1 fabric would have been 1.5 yards. If you got 2 fabrics, you got 1 fabric that was 3/4 of a yard, the other fabric 3/4 of a yard. And you pre-washed the fabric, and now we're going to start by ironing. So quickly, I'm going to iron this, and I'm going to show you how our first step is to mark the fabric following the directions, and we're going to cut it out. And so you should get your equipment out. So you need your scissors, you should need your pins, you need some kind of measuring equipment that's longer than longer than 30 inches. So that would mean one of these kind of tape measures would be great. If you have a straight ruler, something with a straight edge, that works great. And then to mark it, I'm going to use chalk. If you have, you could use, I'm going to say this, if you have a pencil, if you have a marking pencil, that would work. If you have a graphite pencil and it shows up, you could use it on the wrong side of the fabric in case you make a mistake. I'm going to say that's okay. But if you are using, I have a solid, so I'm going to mark my solid because it's going to be easier to see. If you have a print, you want to mark the wrong side of the print because you're going to be able to see that a little bit better. So I'm going to move my equipment now that I've told you everything that you need. I'm going to move it out of the way so I can iron this. And so when you lay this out, lay your print so that the wrong side is facing up, because we're going to mark the wrong side. In case you make a mistake, you could remark it. You could remark and do it again. And so you just, okay, so there we go. So I'm gonna, when we cut this out, we're gonna cut it out with two layers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my print, this one, down first, and I'm gonna mark the one that's easier for you guys to see. I'm gonna put that one on top. So this one goes down first, and I'm gonna smooth it out. I have a big table, so you might wanna put this on your dining room table. And let's do parts of the fabric. So I've got these, this is my salvaged edge along here. This is the cut edge. So then I'm going to lay my other one on top, and you can mark this if you think it's going to shift. You might want to mark it and then lay it out, but just to make this video a little bit faster, I'm going to lay it out so that my selvages are lined up. And I want to make sure that this edge is lined up also. So when I cut it, I don't want to not cut both of them. I don't want to miss the one underneath. So then I'm going to use my hands to smooth out all these wrinkles. And so another trick, I'm going to show you an industry trick. If you have a ruler or a yardstick, if you do this, that smooths all those wrinkles. So you're going to smooth from the center with your ruler or your yardstick. So our first, there's a diagram. It's going to show you how to mark what your measurements are. So we're going to do those basically two big 20-inch squares. So give yourself some space down here. So I'm going to do that corner to this corner. I'm going to do a little X there, X there, up to X here. Make sure that this is square. I'm not going to square, so I want to even that out. And so go back X. So if you have that straight edge, draw that first line here. We're gonna eyeball that, make sure that that's straight. And I don't know, might be hard to see, so then from that edge, I'm going to measure over 20 inches. Inches. And 20 inches there. So now I can connect. Now if you don't have a straight edge, you can connect all those lines. You can, and then I'm going to, I want to make sure that that corner is a 90-degree angle. And then I'm going to do from here up 20 inches, 20 inches, 20 inches, and 20 inches, and I'm going to connect that. And before I cut this, I'm going to double check and make sure that I have, so it's hard to see on the video because I've used, the contrast is not very great, but I'm going to double check that I've got 20 inches square everywhere, 20 inches square everywhere. And I do, so so that one's good. So I'm gonna do the same over here. So I need a 20-inch square here and a 20-inch square right next to it. And then on the diagram, right above it, there's a 30-inch long strap. There's two 30-inch long straps. I lost my ruler or my tape measure. So I'm going to do a 30-inch long strap here. So if you have a yardstick, grab a yardstick. So if you have a long yardstick, maybe you do, now's the time to get that because it'll make this a lot easier. But if you don't, you're going to use your tape measure, and you're going to mark the end here down to here, so 30 inches, and we need to draw a straight line. So here's where you need a straight edge of some kind. I'm going to use a yardstick. If you have a, if you don't have a yardstick and you don't have a long ruler, we're gonna I'll show you another. There we go. And then from that straight line, we're gonna measure up 3 inches. So we're gonna take our tape measure, and we're gonna measure 3 inches up. 3 inches, 3 inches. So you're gonna go all the way along 3 inches. And then you're going to connect all those lines. Now the easiest way to do this, we need 2 of these. And I find that the easiest way to do it, we will only need one out of our main fabric. So if you want your main fabric to be, I'm going to make it this orangey color. So I can actually cut 2 of these. And so I could fold this in half and do it, or I can draw a second one next to it. So I'm going to draw a second one next to it. So I'm going to mark 30 inches long. And then I'm gonna draw a straight line. So I'm gonna use the line here of the edge that I just, so I'm using my strap I just drew as one edge, and I'm gonna draw 3 inches off that straight edge. And so I'm going to connect those. I'm going to connect down here. So it's 30 inches long, 3 inches wide, and 3 inches wide. I've got 2 of them. And over here in this area, now remember I've drawn, I didn't take the time on the video, but I've drawn another 20 inch, I'm off the screen. I've drawn another 20 inch piece over here. So I have 2 20 inches, 2 30 inch straps, and over in this corner over here, I'm going to do a pocket that's 5.5 by 11. So I'm going to do the same thing I just did. I'm going to use my tape measure, and I'm going to draw a pocket. The width is going to be 11 inches wide. So I'm going to mark that off. And then it's going to be 5.5 inches long. So first, I'm going to draw a straight edge first. And from that straight edge, I'll do a mark over 11. 11, 11, and I'll connect all those little lines. Very good. And then I want to make a corner, so I'm going to do and then from that line I'm going to do a measure up 5.5 inches. And now we are going to cut it out. Cut it out, right? So if you're cutting 2 layers, you might want to, you're worried about your fabric shifting, you can take your pins and you can pin through both layers. Now, that will stop it from shifting. And I'm going to get my scissors and cut this first big piece. Cut all the way through here. So you've got, I cut both of them at the same time. So you're going to continue to cut all the pieces you just marked. And then you are going to be ready to sew. So we've got your handles. And remember, you don't need all, if you, you can cut all these layers of handles, but you don't need all these layers because we're only going to need 2 handles. Even though we've double layered these, you can cut and discard 2 of them, but maybe you want to cut them out and then decide later which fabric you like better. Maybe you don't like the orange, maybe you want to do the flower, and the orange is not your favorite. But we are going, in the next video, we're going to start the sewing the pocket. Okay,